Before we get to that more detailed view, we're taking a side step here, switching gears, talking about how search engine optimization works. And this is from a high level looking at it. We don't want to get bogged down today in the nitty gritty. I see Google awarding the top spot in their search engine really based upon 3 slices of the pie. The weighting that they give can be divided into thirds. So the first third that you want to align your website with is relevance. The second third that you need to align your website with is authority. And you can always become more authoritative in Google's eyes. And we'll talk about that in more detail in a minute. So this is something that can go on forever. The process of making your website look more authoritative can always be worked on. And in the last third for Google's scorecard, we have other factors. And it says over here, there are up to 200 other factors. These factors are Google's secret herbs and spices recipe, and there's much conjecture about what exactly those 200 factors are. But I want to emphasize that there is up to 200 factors. So in terms of your time investment, it's very difficult to tick all of these. You would be there for a long time. So when we're doing search engine optimization, the areas that we're mostly working on is to improve the website relevance and improve the website authority. So keep that in mind, please. To improve the website authority, it's all about link building. Every website on the internet has a level of authority which is given to it by other websites that already have a level of authority, and it's transferred between links between websites. So we're all familiar with blue underlined words on the internet that you can click on that move you from one site to another. That's a link, but also links can be placed around images. So for example, if I click on this image of my logo and it took me to my website, that is a link. Now, the website that had this writing on it had a level of authority, and it achieved that level of authority because upchain, there were other websites that linked to it. And then downchain is my website. So if we visualize what that might look like, this comes from Wikipedia. We have a number of websites on this picture illustrated by circles, and the diameter of the circle is a visual representation of how much authority Google perceives that website to have. So we see that website B grew to the largest diameter because it had the most links from other websites coming into it. And not all websites are equal. They've all got a different level of authority. So this is a really nice visual representation of that scenario. These ones out here didn't have a lot of authority, so these links didn't really help B grow tremendously, but there were more opportunities to get these less authoritative links. So as an aggregate, they did add up and help B to grow. E was the best link that B had and transferred the most authority to B. E grew to the size that E appears to be on this image based upon the links upchain to it. So you can see that E grew to that size based upon these outer links here in purple, and also F was sending some that way. It's the direction of link that is important. It's not your website linking to other people. It's other people linking to your website. Sometimes I like to use the analogy that your website is a bucket and you must fill it up with SEO juice, and the other websites have this SEO juice, and you need to form a link or a hose that points to your website and fills your bucket up. So this section here with the infinite symbol is the authority section of Google's scorecard, and it's got an infinite symbol because in this scenario you could always build more links pointed towards your website, and this is where SEO really is a competition to find the best partners you can to link to you, or write the best content you can so that people naturally link to you and have more links of better quality than your competitors. The other third of the pie that you can optimize for is the relevance of your website. And most basically, Google is a text matching search engine. So it's incredibly important to do the keyword research and write the keywords onto the website so that you may be considered relevant to a search. But looking a bit beyond that, it also is the structure of the website that's important. And here's an example. We've got two websites. The first one is a single page website. And this is quite a common issue that you will face with search engine optimization, because single page landing pages are quite popular, especially to drive paid search traffic too. So a lot of the time you get handed a lovely looking single page website that wants to sell cats and dogs. The problem is that both of those topics are on the same page. So from a high level, that page is only 50% relevant to cats and 50% relevant to dogs. So to optimize that website, you really need to split it so that there is a page for cats and a page for dogs. And if you're looking a little bit deeper into the search engine optimization, each of these pages will have elements such as a heading and a title tag, and the keyword needs to be placed in these headings and in these titles so that Google can understand what that page is about. So they were the two factors, the two slices of that pie that we optimize first. If we have any extra time, then we will start working through the other 200 signals, which make up the last third of the pie, that would influence the rank of your website in Google. And these are things like the page speed, whether you've got rich snippets, this is stars showing for your products in Google search results, or the number of reviews that the website has. Now, SEO is very competitive. The link building situation has carried on now since Google's inception. So you could imagine that there are many companies that have had a long time to work on their SEO. So if you want to get the best result from an SEO agency, it really pays to be as much of a team when it comes to working on the SEO as possible. So I've got some ideas for you how to maximize that relationship. Planning and keyword research. If you're working with an SEO company, hopefully you've been at your company for enough time to understand your product thoroughly and any industry slang that might be used to search for the product. Most SEO people like me, a bit of a computer nerd, probably don't know all the tradie speak that is used to reference a particular trade. So it's really important that if you do have some industry terminology that you know people are going to be searching for, not to assume that the SEO company is going to know that. Also, it's very important to outline to your SEO company what your keyword priorities are. There isn't a cost per click with search engine optimization, so most SEO companies will try and include everything into the SEO campaign, but there definitely is an opportunity to target one or two key phrases with more emphasis than the others. So it's important that you help the SEO agency in the beginning to identify the keywords you want to rank for and emphasize which ones are the most important. Share the responsibility for optimization. I think that's the theme of this whole slide that we have here. Produce high quality content. So hopefully somebody at your company is going to be an authority on the industry and has very detailed or specific knowledge that would enable them to write quality content. SEO companies can assist by writing more generic or lighter content, but if you can work with the SEO company to polish what they provide or to provide your own unique quality content, that can assist dramatically. Leverage your connections. This is about thinking, where could we establish a link from? Do we have any partners in business? Do we sponsor any organizations? They say it's not what you know, it's who you know, and that's where this applies here. Most SEO companies will be building links from shared opportunities. If we can build a link for you on this website, the other SEO company can probably also build a link for you for their customer on that website. So if you can bring anything to the table that is a unique opportunity based upon who you know in business, that can be really beneficial. And the other way to help with search engine optimization is to get reviews on your Google Maps account called Google My Business. And that will not only make your business look more reputable, but it's conjectured that that will increase the rank of the website as well. Couple more examples of what's possible with search engine optimization. 298% improvement for Health Engine, and they ended up getting invested into by 7 West Media and Telstra for $11 million after we did that SEO. So really happy with that result, 206% skyrocket. If SEO is done correctly, it is something that should normally look like this. That's the shape of an SEO campaign that is typical. Now, if you choose the wrong SEO provider, obviously they're not going to get results. It's just going to be flat, or maybe even go the other way as they damage your website. But if it's done correctly, it'll normally look like this, because the process of forming links from other websites to boost your authority is something that's done every month. So as that process continues, your website becomes to Google more important and the results would improve. Now, here's an example of the cost scenario, month 1 to 12, SEO company charging $3,000 a month. If the extra visitors generated was 300, 390, 507, as you see, incrementing, the cost per visitor is that divided by that. So it would start at $10, and if there was a 3% conversion rate on the website, in this example, that would be $330 per conversion. Just mindful of the time, I need to speed up a little bit. So what we're saying here is that SEO over time, the cost per visitor is going to decrease as we generate more visitors for the same cost, and that will flow through into the conversion rate. So after 12 months in this example, $18 per conversion. Now, if you were using the Google Ads system, we have this example again. Business is selling a product at $100 with a margin of $50. The cost of sale with Google Ads is $100, and that's because at a 3% conversion rate, you need 33 clicks on your ad, and we had a cost per visitor with the ad system for this example of $3 per click. So those two times together are close to $100. With the margin of the product being 50, that's $50 too much. Now, for this company, the ad system was no longer viable. They didn't have a business model. They couldn't afford to pay $3 per click with a 3% conversion rate. But if they invested in search engine optimization, the long-term picture is that they do potentially have a business model with the cost per conversion dropping below 50 at the 8th month mark there on that table. Another example, tire sales, that was part of the car sales network. We turned around a decreasing trend in organic traffic for 159% improvement, and that's an online only business. So 159% improvement is more than double in 6 months, and Wilson Security into the #1 position for security companies. So there was some colors missing from this graph. This table I've just realized, but I think I still managed to emphasize the point. The ad system with this cost per visitor that you can't do anything about often makes a business model very difficult when your product is, say, below $100. This system still works very well with larger ticket items, but because of the way that cost per click prices have increased over the years, it's very difficult, and you wouldn't find many industries that still have a $3 cost per click. Many industries now are $10 or $30 per click. So e-commerce on cheaper items really lends itself more to search engine optimization in many instances than using the paid system. So this SEO became a better proposition at 6 months than that cost per conversion, with it being at 88, and it got to the margin that they needed by the 8th or 9th month.